Have you ever had a morning when you did everything right? You ate breakfast, maybe some toast, cereal, or fruit juice. But by 10 a.m., you felt like your body had crashed. Your hands trembled a little, your focus vanished, and suddenly you needed more coffee just to stay awake. That was me. And it was not a one-time thing. It was my every morning. Until one day, that routine almost ended my life. Now that sounds dramatic, I know. But what I'm about to tell you is something millions of people over 50 are quietly suffering from. And they have no idea it's tied to what they eat first thing in the morning. Before I tell you what nearly killed me, I want you to do one quick thing. Comment your age below. I want to see how many of us are still trying to fix our mornings the way we were told back in our 30s. Because science has changed drastically. Let me take you back to that morning. I was driving to work after my usual healthy breakfast, a bowl of cereal, orange juice, and coffee. About 20 minutes later, I started sweating, my vision blurred, and my heart felt like it was racing out of my chest. By the time I got to the hospital, my blood sugar had spiked and crashed so violently that my doctor called it a silent heart risk event. That day changed everything. Because the truth is, the first thing you eat in the morning sets off a cascade of hormonal reactions that either protect your heart and brain or slowly destroy them. Here's what the research shows. When you start your day with a sugar spike, from cereals, pastries, even certain healthy smoothies, your body releases a surge of insulin and cortisol. This combination does not just make you tired, it actually increases inflammation, messes with your mood, and can lead to a dangerous cycle of energy crashes and fat storage. Over time, this becomes one of the strongest predictors of metabolic decline and heart disease in older adults. What's happening in your brain during that crash is even more alarming. When your blood sugar plummets, your body floods with adrenaline. That's why you feel shaky and anxious. It's not just caffeine jitters, it's a physiological panic signal, and yet most people never realize it because we have been told for decades that a balanced breakfast means carbs first. In this video, I'm going to break down 6 science-backed truths about what breakfast really does to your metabolism, focus, and longevity. You will learn why the timing of your first meal matters more than its calories, how your breakfast affects your stress hormones and aging brain, what to eat instead, based on neuroscience, not trends, and the single change that reversed my symptoms in less than 2 weeks. Because once you understand the biology of your mornings, everything changes. Your energy, your focus, even how your body burns fat throughout the day. So stay with me until the end. I promise the last insight will surprise you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how some mornings you wake up foggy, tense, or anxious, and no amount of coffee seems to help? That's not just age or bad sleep. That's your cortisol rhythm being hijacked by your breakfast. Here's what I mean. When you wake up, your brain triggers what scientists call the cortisol awakening response. It's your body's natural way of increasing alertness, blood pressure and blood sugar to get you ready for the day. It's like your internal sunrise, but here's the part nobody told us in our younger years. If you eat a high-carb, sugar-heavy breakfast during that cortisol surge, like cereal, toast, pancakes, or juice, you're doubling down on stress hormones and blood sugar. The result? A crash, every single time. A 2021 study in the journal Metabolism showed that people who ate a sugary breakfast during their cortisol peak experienced a 40% larger blood sugar spike and faster post-meal crash than those who ate a protein-rich meal, even when calories were identical. Now, why does that matter? Because over time, those spikes and crashes teach your body to store fat, dull your insulin sensitivity, and keep your brain in a constant stress response mode. What's happening in your brain during that process is fascinating and dangerous. When blood sugar drops after a spike, your hypothalamus signals for more cortisol and adrenaline. That's why you suddenly feel jittery, irritable, or anxious mid-morning. You're not lacking willpower. Your brain is literally running on emergency fuel. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to drive a car that accelerates from 0 to 60, then slams the brakes every 10 minutes. That's what a carb-heavy breakfast does to your metabolism after 50. Now here's where it gets personal. For years I believed I was eating clean. I'd wake up, have oatmeal with a little honey and fruit. It sounded healthy, but I'd still crash around 11 a.m. The truth is, my cortisol and insulin were dancing out of rhythm. My body thought I was in a state of constant stress. When I switched to a protein-first breakfast, something with eggs, Greek yogurt, or even a protein smoothie with no sugar, my energy leveled out. My heart rate normalized, and the constant mid-morning fog disappeared within days. Here's what the research shows. Protein in the morning triggers a gradual dopamine release in the brain, not a spike. Dopamine is your focus and motivation neurotransmitter. So instead of chasing highs and lows all morning, you get steady concentration. A simple tool you can try tomorrow is this. Wait 60 to 90 minutes after waking before your first meal. Start your day with 20 to 30 grams of protein and minimal sugar. Have your carbs later in the day when your cortisol naturally dips. That simple rhythm shift, matching your meal timing to your hormone curve, can completely change your metabolism, focus, and stress levels. Now, I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me what your current breakfast looks like. Be honest. Are you still starting your day with cereal or toast? Or have you already switched to a protein-first approach? Because now, I'm going to show you something even more surprising. It's not just what you eat that affects your brain. It's how your body interprets your breakfast as a stress signal. And once you understand that, you will never look at your morning routine the same way again. Let me start with something that might sound strange. Your breakfast is teaching your brain what kind of day it's going to have. If that first meal is built on sugar, caffeine and fast carbs, your brain learns one thing: panic early, crash later. Here's why. Inside your brain sits a tiny command center called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis for short. Think of it as your body's internal thermostat for stress and energy. It controls your cortisol rhythm, the rise in the morning that helps you feel alert, and the gradual fall that allows you to relax by evening. Now, when you eat a sugary breakfast or grab that quick pastry with your coffee, your blood sugar spikes fast. Your pancreas releases insulin to clear the glucose. But because that spike is unnatural, insulin often overshoots, and your blood sugar plummets. That drop sends an emergency alert to your HPA axis. The message? Stress. We're running out of energy. So your brain responds by releasing more cortisol and adrenaline to keep you functioning. That's why so many people feel anxious, shaky, or wired but tired by late morning. 2020, study published in Psychoneuroendocrinology showed that people who regularly consumed high glycemic breakfasts had chronically elevated cortisol levels throughout the day, even when they reported feeling calm. Their brains had adapted to a diet-induced stress pattern. In other words, what feels normal might actually be chemical chaos. Now, imagine repeating that pattern every single day for years. Over time, your adrenal system stops responding as efficiently. Your cortisol rhythm flattens, meaning you wake up tired, feel sluggish midday, and cannot sleep at night. That's one of the clearest biological signatures of aging faster than you should. I remember the moment I realized this connection. It was not after a big medical test. It was a normal Tuesday morning. I had my usual breakfast, sat down to work, and noticed something simple. My hands were trembling as I typed. My heart felt off, like I was slightly buzzing inside. That's when I thought, could this really be from breakfast? And yes, it was. Here's what the research shows. Stabilizing your blood sugar early in the day can actually reduce overall cortisol output by up to 30%, according to a 2019 study in Nutrients. That means your body experiences less wear and tear, and your mood remains more stable. So the next time you're choosing breakfast, ask yourself, do I want to start my day by teaching my body calm or chaos? A simple tool you can use is this. Before eating, have a glass of water with a pinch of sea salt and a squeeze of lemon. This gently hydrates your adrenal system and reduces morning cortisol spikes. Then, when you eat, include healthy fats, like avocado, olive oil, or nuts. These slow down glucose absorption and keep your energy steady. If this kind of insight is connecting with you, if it feels like the missing piece in your morning routine, take a moment to subscribe. Because every week I share science-backed tools that help you optimize your brain, body, and longevity without hype or guesswork. Now, I'm going to reveal something few people talk about: how your gut-brain axis reacts to what you eat first thing in the morning, and why your breakfast can literally determine whether your mood, focus, and energy rise or fall for the rest of the day. You do not want to miss this. It's one of the most surprising connections I have ever found. Let me ask you something simple. Have you ever noticed how your mood feels different after certain breakfasts? Maybe some mornings you're calm and focused, and other times you're irritable or foggy for no clear reason. That's not random. That's your gut-brain axis speaking to you. Here's the truth. The first food you eat in the morning does not just feed you. It feeds the trillions of microbes living inside your gut. And those microbes decide how much energy, focus, and emotional stability you will have that day. When I was recovering from my breakfast mistake, my doctor told me something I will never forget. You're not eating for your stomach, you're eating for your second brain. That second brain is real. It's your enteric nervous system, a vast network of over 100 million neurons in your digestive tract. And it communicates directly with your actual brain through the vagus nerve, the biological hotline between your gut and your mind. Now, here's where it gets powerful. When you start your morning with sugary or processed carbs, you're feeding microbes that thrive on quick energy. They multiply fast, but they also release endotoxins and trigger inflammation that travels through your bloodstream straight to your brain. That's why you might feel cloudy, edgy, or emotionally off after a normal breakfast. It's not just digestion, it's neurochemistry. A 2022 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people who ate high glycemic breakfasts had measurable increases in inflammatory markers and reported lower mood stability and cognitive performance throughout the day. In contrast, those who ate high-protein, high-fiber breakfasts had lower inflammation and significantly better focus scores. What's happening in your brain is fascinating. Those inflammatory signals dampen dopamine and serotonin, your feel-good and motivation chemicals. That's why breakfast choices can set the tone for emotional resilience or burnout. I remember the first week I shifted my mornings. I replaced cereal and juice with scrambled eggs, sautéed spinach, and half an avocado. The difference was startling. My focus returned. My mood evened out. It felt like my brain was finally in sync with my body. Here's what the research shows. When your breakfast includes fiber, healthy fats, and probiotics, it tells your gut bacteria to produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, compounds that lower inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and strengthen your blood-brain barrier. A simple tool to apply tomorrow: add one fermented food, like kefir, yogurt, or sauerkraut, to your breakfast. Pair it with high-quality protein and a source of fiber, such as chia seeds or leafy greens. Avoid refined sugar or fruit juice for the first 4 hours of your day. Within a week, you will likely notice calmer energy, sharper concentration, and more stable emotions, because your gut microbes finally have what they need to support your brain. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. In the next section, I will show you how your breakfast rhythm interacts with your circadian clock, and how eating too early, too late, or with the wrong macronutrient balance can actually confuse your body's timekeeping system. Most people over 50 have no idea how powerful this timing signal is, and how easily it can be corrected. So stay tuned. This next part could completely rewire the way you think about mornings. Let me ask you this. Do you ever wake up feeling tired no matter how well you slept? You might think it's age, stress, or bad sleep habits, but in many cases, it's your meal timing throwing off your internal clock. Here's the science. Every cell in your body contains what's called a circadian clock, tiny molecular timekeepers that regulate everything from metabolism to hormone release. These clocks take cues from two major signals, light and food. When you eat, you're not just consuming calories, you're sending a timing message to your organs. It's morning, start the engines. But if that signal comes too early, too often, or in the wrong chemical form, like high sugar and refined carbs, your circadian rhythm starts to drift. Your brain and body fall out of sync. A 2018 study in Cell Metabolism showed that irregular breakfast timing, especially when combined with late-night eating, disrupted the expression of over 500 genes related to metabolism and inflammation. That means your breakfast can literally rewrite how your body ages. When I was in my 40s, I used to eat right after waking up, cereal, juice, maybe a banana. I thought I was fueling my day. But what I did not realize is that I was eating during my cortisol peak, forcing my pancreas, liver, and brain to compete for energy regulation all at once. The result? Constant fatigue, brain fog, and creeping belly fat, even though I was doing everything right. Once I learned to align my meals with my natural rhythm, everything changed. I started delaying breakfast by about 60 to 90 minutes after waking, letting sunlight hit my eyes first, hydrating, and letting cortisol do its natural job before introducing food. Here's what the research shows. Waiting just 1 hour after waking before eating can enhance insulin sensitivity by up to 25%, according to a 2020 nutrient study, and combining that with a protein-first, low-sugar meal amplifies morning alertness while reducing afternoon crashes. You see, your body runs best when your light clock and your food clock are synchronized. When they're not, your metabolism confuses day and night, triggering inflammation and fat storage. Think of it like trying to play an orchestra when half the musicians are following the wrong sheet music. You get noise, not harmony. A practical morning protocol you can try. Step outside within 15 minutes of waking, even on cloudy days, for natural sunlight. Drink a large glass of water before any caffeine or food. Wait at least 60 minutes before your first meal, and make that meal protein-rich. Keep your eating window within 10 to 12 hours each day to maintain circadian alignment. That single shift, eating in sync with your internal clock, has been linked to lower blood pressure, better sleep, and improved cognitive performance in older adults. And here's the thing, once you begin to live on time with your biology, everything feels easier. Energy stabilizes, cravings fade. My mood improves. It's like your body finally exhales. If this insight resonates with you, if you have ever wondered why your energy rhythm feels off even when you eat healthy, make sure you subscribe right now. Because now, I'm going to share something that could change your mornings forever. How the emotional meaning of your breakfast, your mindset, your pace, even your stress as you eat, shapes your hormones just as much as the food itself. It's not just biology, it's psychology, and it might be the most surprising discovery of them all. When I finally reached my breaking point, exhausted, foggy, and emotionally drained, I realized something shocking. It was not that I was eating the wrong foods, it was that I was living the wrong rhythm. Every cell in your body runs on timing, a master clock called the circadian rhythm. It governs everything: your hormones, metabolism, energy, and even emotional stability. But most people over 50, even the healthiest ones, live out of sync with that rhythm. They wake up and immediately flood their body with caffeine before hydration. They eat at random hours, often skipping real meals. They sit under artificial light all morning and never expose their skin or eyes to natural sunlight. Over time, that disconnect creates fatigue, inflammation, and weight gain, even if your diet looks clean. I learned this the hard way after my health collapsed. But what I discovered next completely transformed my life. And it's something anyone can do, starting tomorrow. I call it the Morning Reset Protocol. It's simple, it's evidence-based, and it works, especially after 50, when your body's rhythm needs extra support. Let's break it down step by step. Step 1. Hydrate before anything else. The moment you wake up, your body is dehydrated after hours of breathing and sweating. Before coffee, before scrolling, drink a tall glass of mineral water. Add a pinch of sea salt or electrolytes if you can. This recharges your cells, wakes up your metabolism, and jumpstarts digestion. Why it works? Dehydration blunts cortisol's natural morning rise, leaving you groggy. Rehydrating restores that rhythm naturally. No caffeine needed, yet. Step 2. Get natural light within 10 minutes of waking. Step outside, even for 5 minutes. Look toward the sky, not directly at the sun. This light tells your brain, it's morning. Your body then synchronizes cortisol, serotonin, and melatonin, the trifecta that controls your energy, mood, and sleep. Why it works? Morning light anchors your circadian rhythm and improves nighttime sleep quality by up to 70%, according to research from Stanford and the NIH. Step 3. Eat a protein-rich breakfast, slowly. After 60, muscle protein synthesis drops naturally, so your first meal matters more than ever. Aim for 25-30 grams of protein with healthy fats and fiber. Think eggs, Greek yogurt, or chia pudding with nuts, and eat it calmly. Remember part 5. Your emotional state is part of your nutrition. Why it works? High-protein breakfasts stabilize blood sugar and lower ghrelin, your hunger hormone, reducing cravings all day. Step 4. Reset your mind before the day. Resets you. Before diving into your phone or to-do list, take 2-3 minutes of silence. You can breathe deeply, express gratitude, or even just sit in stillness. This simple act moves you into a parasympathetic state, which boosts digestion, focus, and resilience. Why it works? Studies show that mindfulness for even 2 minutes increases prefrontal cortex activity, the part of your brain that makes calm, focused decisions. Step 5. Move, but do not overdo it. A short, gentle movement routine in the morning, like a 10-minute walk. Yoga flow or mobility sequence awakens your muscles and lymphatic system. You're not chasing calories. You're activating circulation. Why it works? Light movement increases nitric oxide, improving blood flow and nutrient delivery throughout the body, especially to muscles and joints. Step 6. Repeat it consistently. Here's the magic. Consistency compounds. Do these steps for just 7 days, and your body begins to reprogram its circadian rhythm. Energy rises earlier. Hunger normalizes. Sleep deepens. And that stubborn weight that seemed impossible to lose, it starts to shift. Not because you tried harder, but because your biology finally aligned with nature again. For me, this protocol was not just a recovery, it was a rebirth. My mornings stopped being chaotic. It became sacred, a ritual that reminded me, I'm not broken. I was just out of rhythm. So if you take one thing from this story, let it be this. Healing does not start with a supplement or a meal plan. It starts the moment you decide to live in tune with your own biology again. You know, if you asked me years ago what health meant, I would have listed things: protein, vitamins, steps, discipline. But now, after everything, I think real health begins when you stop running from your body and start listening to it, because your body is not the enemy. It's the messenger. Every ache, every drop in energy, every restless night. It's not a punishment. It's a whisper saying, "You have drifted away from me. Come back." And when you start to listen, when you hydrate before you caffeinate, when you stand in the morning light, when you eat without hurry, you start to hear that voice again. It says, "Thank you. This is what I needed." That's when healing begins. Not with perfection, but with presence. Not with chasing youth, but honoring rhythm. For those of you over 50, 60, even 70, please hear this. Your body has not given up on you. It's been waiting for you to slow down and reconnect. The moment you do, it responds. Faster than you think. Energy returns. Sleep softens. Focus sharpens. And more than that, a quiet confidence comes back. The kind you cannot buy or fake. It's the feeling of being alive again. So tomorrow morning, before the world starts moving, give yourself 5 sacred minutes. Drink your water, step into the light, take 3 slow breaths, and whisper, "I'm ready to come back home." Because in the end, health is not about fighting time. It's about moving in rhythm with it. And when you do, time begins to work for you.